All right, guys. So this is clearly not my back room. We're at a very different spot today, doing an interview with the amazing Ani Agassi, artist, photographer, paint. I'm sure I'm going to learn even more that you do today. Ex-professor, which you guys are going to learn a little more about today too. But I'm just so excited to chat with you and learn a bit more about yourself and your creative mind and sort of how you go about stuff.
Thanks, Christian. This is exciting. From you being my student and now interviewing me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited. Let's do this.
Yeah, I mean, you've been, well, first off, let's give a little intro about yourself.
Yeah.
What kind of give us your shtick, what you're doing right now?
What do I do right now? I do many things, but I guess primarily what I do right now, I'm a video content producer working at Odyssey, where we are actually now. This is one of the Odyssey spaces. I'm glad we could use the space. So we do film a lot of celebrities at Odyssey. I'm involved mostly in like the music side of the business. So a lot of concerts, a lot of artist interviews. Right on this stage, we actually interview like literally every music celebrity that a lot of people know.
Yeah.
And so that's my primary kind of focus now. I still teach. I just finished off spring 2025.
That's fantastic.
I had a really awesome group of students. Again, 8 because you guys are 8 too. I had another set of 8 students.
Wow.
That's like something I really enjoy teaching. I also have my own business, my own studio called Sia Creatives, where I do graphic design, photography, videography. So
lots.
It's a little bit much.
Yeah.
And at school, I don't know if I should probably mention for your audience, I teach graphic design. And Christian was one of my students back in fall 2023. Yeah. So graphic design, photography, videography, that involves like all moving parts, you know, from producing, from editing, filming, all of it. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's fantastic. You've been doing a lot of traveling too, huh?
A lot of traveling with Odyssey, actually. A lot of traveling for concert shows. Yeah, I had like maybe like on average 2 flights a month since the year started.
Crazy. I think I've been on 4 in my entire life, so it's crazy to think about.
I had 30 plus just last year.
That's insane.
Yeah. I mean, also combined with personal travels, I had 30 plus flights.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm sure when you're going to all these different places, you're learning tons of different things. You're, you know, experiencing different kinds of cultures. And so.
Absolutely. You meet a lot of people.
Yeah.
And the more people you meet, the more people you talk to, the more you learn, not only about the people, but about yourself too.
Right. Yeah, that's what I was going to get at is I'm wondering like what are some things that you've kind of, in your most recent trips, let's say like the top 2 that have stood out for you, like what have been some formative things that you've kind of experienced or learned somewhere else?
Well, for the first time, I actually got involved in sports events this year. So we did fly to New Orleans around Super Bowl time.
That's awesome.
We did Radio Row, which was Super Bowl related, like radio talk, expo type of event. So it's my first time being sports people. Very different dynamic, very different energy compared to music.
Where was that at again?
This was in New Orleans. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then also did another sport event. It was like a basketball betting event in Florida, which I, went to and did a lot of filming. It's fun. So you get to like get the taste of different worlds.
Right.
But I would say I like the music world more than the sports. Even like working with the music audiences is a lot different experience than working in sports. For example, in sports, a lot of times like you're getting the audience shots, getting the B-roll, and people will literally just like give you attitude or just they turn your face away. They don't want to be on the camera. A lot of like masculine like men. But working with the music people,
they're
like you're at the concert, like usually when we film for shows, we are in between the audience and the stage, and the first row people, they love the camera.
That's
like
hilarious.
When they see the camera on them, they just give you everything they have in them.
That's amazing.
At that moment. So it's very different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So have you been anywhere else that's been like intense culture shock where you're like, whoa, I'm not used to this kind of way of life?
Honestly, no, because I was born and raised in Armenia. So my culture is very different from here.
How long were you in Armenia before?
I was born and raised there.
Oh,
I was 16 when I moved here.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like a big girl.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I was 16. So moving here was my culture shock. But then anywhere I go now, I'm not shocked because I've seen kind of like two very opposite worlds.
Right.
Everything else falls like in between.
Yeah.
So no, I can't say I experienced like a crazy culture shock yet. Like I haven't yet experienced that.
Okay. So you're doing all these different things from, like you said, like sports and photography and graphic design and all that. But what got you into that? What was the moment maybe that or age that you were like, ooh, I'm interested in art, I'm interested in this, or maybe even specifically graphic design or photography,
well,
one of those?
Drew and painted when I was a kid. I was part of my school's art club, and I was very favored by my art teacher, and she would always like, you know, kind of like encourage me to do more, and she really built a lot of confidence in me, and I still keep in touch with her, by the way. When I go back home, I see her every time. I really knew nothing but art when I was growing up. But then when I was in my teen years, I had to kind of decide what I want to go to college for.
Right.
At that time, being like a fine artist or like painting did not seem to be like a realistic path for me.
Right.
I didn't consider that as like a solid,
sustainable career.
Career. So I was like, okay, but what can I do though? I still wanted to be creative.
Yeah.
Didn't know what else to do. And then I literally discovered graphic design. Because I had also learned how to use Photoshop, and I was just obsessed with Photoshop. I was maybe like 12, 13 that I learned Photoshop.
Wow.
I literally Googled what are some professions that require you to use Photoshop. And I discovered graphic design. I had no idea what graphic design was. And then I did some research, heard about Woodbury, same school that I went to, same school where I taught you.
Yeah.
So then I went to Woodbury, did my graphic design degree, and then did graphics for a while, and then slowly, obviously, you know, in our program, we also learned photography.
Yeah.
So I also learned photography, loved working with cameras, and then the past, like, more like after graduating, maybe a couple of years after graduating, I got myself a nice camera, and I kind of started experimenting. You know, I would invite friends, and like anybody cool looking I would meet, I would pretend like I'm this professional photographer, and I would invite them, you know, to like shoot with me.
Yeah.
And then slowly, from photography, I start playing around with videography, and it completely accidentally I fall into a video world. Completely accidentally, because this girl I was doing photos for, she asked me to do some video clips for her. For the first time, I'm filming on the camera. She was like, yeah, just send me the footage. I have somebody who will edit a social media video for me. My friend Liz, actually. She just had a baby. Congrats, Liz.
Congrats, Liz.
She's an awesome dancer. So I did like a dance video for her. She was dancing the whole time. And I used my favorite song at the time that I was obsessed with. And I was like, let me just edit. Let's see what's going to happen. Yeah. I use After Effects to edit video. It's not meant for video editing, but that's all I knew. That's all I learned.
Bold for that
I know,
one,
that's all I learned at school.
One.
And then I make like 1 minute video of Liz just dancing. And then I send it to her. I was like, if she likes it, she'll post it. If she doesn't like it, she doesn't post it. And that's how I know it's good or not. It looked really good in my eye. And then she called me a few days later. She posted, and then she's like, can we do one more? And that was literally the beginning of me doing video. And then within a few years, I end up at Odyssey doing graphic design, actually, back in 2019. But I was already working in like proximity with the video department. And my current manager, Carlos, his office was right next to mine. So every time I would do some like fun video project, whatever, I would be like, hey, Carlos, look, I can help you guys. I can help you guys.
That's
and
huge.
Then, and then all of a sudden, like I found myself downstairs in one of the studios helping with the video team. And then I start going to shows and concerts, just helping out, really. It wasn't part of my job. And then, and then COVID happens, I get laid off, and then I get my own little studio space, and then I start doing full-on video work. Music videos, live performance type of, videos. And then, but I kept in touch with Carlos, my current manager. I was like, look at my new work. I would like send him links of my video work. And then I was like, if you guys ever need me, like I would love to go to shows and concerts. And then one of these days I send him, I don't know what I sent him for him to see. It was like, position just opened up actually. And then, I applied.
Then those doors opened.
It's been a little over 3 years now. I'm here.
Wow.
Working. of LA, but part of like the national team. That's why we travel so much.
Mm.
So everything that's happening nationwide, because Odyssey is a nationwide company, like radio stations, podcasts, shows, and like radio,
Right.
just a lot of entertainment.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Wow. I'm gonna run it back to the painting because that fascinates me.
Yes.
I want to know more about that. I want to know because I've seen you doing it quite a bit, at least on your Instagram.
Yeah.
And they're awesome. They're fucking awesome.
you.
Truly, they're so
Thank
cool.
you.
And so I want to know just more about like your passion for it, sort of what it does for you, and sort of like how it kind of acts as a role in your life.
So when I was younger, I knew I was good at it, but then I didn't give it much importance because again, I thought it was not a real career.
Yeah.
It was also like almost like a stereotype back home that artists are like broke and crazy.
Yeah.
And I think that was that negative seed was kind of planted in me. And I was like, oh no, like art is not
gotta stay
for
away from
me.
that.
Like,
Yeah. I gotta pay my
I don't wanna
bills.
be,
Yeah.
I don't want to be broke and crazy.
Yeah. Broken crazy.
So then you would agree, graphic design is more like kind of business and marketing.
Yeah,
you know, you
absolutely.
have to kind of have that mind. Your mind gets trained that way doing graphic design.
Yeah.
And then basically from like maybe 12, 13, all the way to my early 20s, I did not paint or make any art. Sure, I took some art classes because I was required to take those classes for a graphics program, but I was like completely neglecting that part of me. Didn't even care until I don't know what sparked my curiosity to like buy a canvas and paint. So then I started painting, and then one thing that I relearned, more like discovered at my adult painting experience, is that painting is the only form of creative work that I do now that is not at all, that doesn't follow anyone else's guidelines. It's not a project that has a deadline. I'm not doing it for anyone.
Right.
I'm doing it for not even myself.
Yeah.
I don't have expectations when I'm painting. I don't care it being great or terrible or whatever. And I realized it's just a very therapeutic process. You just
love that.
You just forget even about your own existence because you're so like focused on, painting and making the lines clean or whatever. Like I get lost in the painting process. It's almost like I become the brush.
Yeah.
I don't even exist. I'm just like the brush, like focused. It completely shuts my brain off. And I love it.
Yeah.
But I don't do it enough because I know I need like big chunks of free time to get into it. Because, once I start painting, all of a sudden I'm like, oh my God, it's been like 8 hours.
Right.
I don't have that
Beautiful
time.
thing, scary thing.
Yeah. I don't have that time right now. I've been involved in way too much.
Yeah.
But that's what painting really is for me.
Yeah, I think it's so almost neglected, I think, doing things like that where it's judgment free. And like I find myself doing that too, where I'll be working on a project or even take on a project sometimes because it's what's trending or it's because it's what's popular. And then even in that process, I find myself being like, oh, I can't edit it this way because it's not what's going to do well on social media, or I can't do it this way because people might not think that's funny, or da-da-da-da. And I think it's becoming like a more rare thing for people to do things just because they want to do them, and less for
definitely. I mean, also the world keeps us so caught up with what needs to be done. So for me personally, it's a matter of time, not having the time.
Yeah.
But I guess like everybody has the same amount of time, so we could probably.
Speaking of you fitting things into your schedule and time, let's talk about teaching, because
let's talk about teaching.
Let's talk about your teaching.
Let's
so when did you start? Were we your first class, or did you do one?
You guys were my first official Woodbury class.
Wow.
I taught privately a few times before I had you guys' group.
Smaller group or
like more like
one-on-ones?
One-on-one.
Okay.
I would teach like little studios who were like marketing studios, but they were trying to teach their teams how to do like basic video editing. I didn't even teach graphic design. I was teaching video editing. So you guys were my first official like class for me to teach graphic design. And I was nervous. I don't know if you guys could tell. Like
No,
the very first
we
day
could not tell. Yeah.
The very first day I walked in, I was so nervous. I could feel my voice shake.
Wow. Didn't show.
Because I was kind of like thrown into it. I knew I was going to teach because I was meeting with Benush, our department chair.
Right.
We were kind of planning and prepping for me to start eventually teaching like the following year. And then it was just like mid-August. I know the semester starts end of August. It's mid-August, maybe like 2 weeks before the semester was gonna start. I get a call from Venush. She's like, Evan, who used to teach the class before me, she's like, he just got promoted at his like day job and he's not gonna be able to teach. Like he doesn't have much time to do that. He like just basically like step down.
Yeah.
Will you take this class? I'm like,
Wow.
oh my God, I'm like, I'm not ready.
Spotlight on
I
you.
was like, I'm not ready. Like, I was like, ugh. But I didn't want to say no because I knew I wanted to teach. So I was like, yes, if you sit with me for like one day to kind of walk me through what needs to be done. I had to like but like kind of customize the syllabus. Yeah. Come up with my own projects for you guys.
Make it engaging and stuff, yeah.
And again, like never done this before. All of a sudden, Benush is trusting me. She's like, yeah, here's the syllabus. Go make all the changes you want. Send it to me. Let me, I'll review it.
It's a lot.
And then I did not have that one day with her. I had 1 hour with her right before class.
Jeez.
Right before class. I had 1 hour with her.
And it was kind of just see how it goes.
She was like, here you go.
Wow.
And yeah, I walked into you guys' class and I was nervous.
That's amazing.
But I think we did good. I
think
I did good.
It was fantastic. That was fantastic. Yeah, I mean, I want to know more about because, and some people that know me personally are like, what? But I would love to be a teacher. I love instructing things. I love teaching things. And sometimes my fuse gets short. Sometimes I'm kind of like, come on, you got to grasp it. But I love the concept, especially when it comes to like youth or just younger generations and stuff, like teaching not necessarily the shortcuts, but just like the different things that we learn, different approaches and stuff, because it's getting so kind of blanket.
Yeah.
So yeah, I want to know your thoughts on like being a teacher. What's that?
Okay, so, well, teaching for me was not for the sake of teaching or for the sake of, oh, I have all these like technical skills, let me like pass it on. That was not the motive for me. For me, the motive was like, okay, like I learned a lot in the industry. Obviously, it's been over a decade that I'm out of school and in the industry. I cared to teach more of the, more like the philosophy of what it's like to be in the real world. Yeah. That's what I wanted to pass along more than the technical side of the design. Right. Because let's be honest, like technical side, I could give you like a skeleton and you can just go in and dig in off the internet. I learned Premiere off YouTube. Yeah. And you guys can learn off YouTube more than a semester long course can teach you. So of course, I think I did a pretty okay job teaching you guys Photoshop, you know. Yeah. But I care to share with you guys more of like my experiences to kind of give you like a preview of what it's like to be in the real world, even like all the class guests that I brought in, like my industry friends. I really wanted you guys to meet different people, to learn how to network, to learn what's possible, what's really out there. Yeah. And again, that's still my motive for teaching. And I think I tried to do that this semester too. I brought in a few friends from the industry. I made sure I brought the group here for a concert. That's awesome. You guys came here too for a little show on this very stage.
That's so cool.
What did you guys see?
We saw Pierce the Veil.
Yeah. I think they did. Oh, and this semester actually I made my group to design a poster for the show that they were going to come see.
No way. That's so cool.
The Rex.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I did their speed project on the concert. So they all made the poster, and then the band selected one of them, Cecily.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah. So
that's so cool.
You know, that's why I want to teach too.
And I'm telling you, I think it's so important that you're doing that, because from mine and my girlfriend's perspective, it was not necessarily like a fear, but kind of a fear of like getting spat out into things, because you were kind of the only professor that gave us what was going on in the real world. And it was like, you know, I'm designing a swimsuit, that's cool, but how am I gonna practically apply that, you know what I mean, later down the line? And when it comes to networking, when it comes to actual business opportunities, so yeah, I just feel like that gets so neglected. And one of my friends just started college for graphic design, and he was telling me like from day one they kind of started going over like, hey, this is how you can make money as a graphic designer. And I'm like, that is so important. Like it's so very slept on as like a tool to have in your kit, you know. So yeah, I just feel like there's so many different things that you probably learned from between you know, your teaching and your career and stuff. And So yeah, I'm curious to know, I guess, just more about like your day to day, what you sort of fill your time with when you're not putting your creative juices in, when you're not fully locked into your camera leveling and
It's been a while since I haven't been locked in the work mood. To be honest, since the year started, I hadn't had a downtime. Even like this whole weekend, I worked. It really depends. I like reading a lot. So I do read a lot of books. When I have the time, I'll just be lazy, lay down, spend a few hours just to read.
Yeah.
If I'm not reading, I like to be outdoors. I go on like walks a lot. I love like going on hikes just to be away from technology.
Yeah.
I feel like my days are so filled with technology, computers, lenses, cameras, lights, and people and emails and back and forth. And I just try to like be away from all of that. I can't say I do anything like, actually I'm lying. I start playing tennis.
Hey, there we go.
3 months I'm playing tennis.
There we go.
I used to play as a teenager, so I thought maybe I should like do something out of the ordinary, get into something new environment. Also, like I feel like I'm always surrounded by production people.
Right.
I wanted to kind of,
get around some normal folks. Yeah.
So I'm heavily involved with this academy now. It's called the KTA, Kachajan Tennis Academy. I'm now like very bonded with the whole community there. Of course, I couldn't help myself but to work with them. I'm actually producing content for them too.
Of course, of course, naturally.
Yeah, but yeah, now recently I've gone into tennis. It's nice.
That's awesome.
After sitting for hours and hours for days and days, it's nice to actually move. I can't say that there is anything like specific that I do, but reading and again like learning. Even when I have a downtime, I still want to use that time and like make it useful. Even like reading a book still teaches you things, you know.
Yeah. I think there's definitely like, especially when it comes to being busy and especially being a creative, like there's the good things and then there's the struggles, and even just in like workflow stuff. So I want to know like what are some struggles that you've kind of encountered when it comes to maybe your career, your art itself, like just maybe walls that you've hit, whether it's recently or even ones that have just been monumental to sort of your character and where you're at.
Absolutely. I think the struggles that I've experienced in more like professional creative side have been understanding the business side. I've attempted businesses and, you know, coming up with studios a few times before this last one that's solid.
Yeah.
And I would like, my struggle and I guess my weakness was to jump into things without doing the math. Without learning what was necessary to learn to sustain that thing that I was jumping into. Yeah. And I learned it the hard way, failing a few projects, like literally failing the client, not getting paid, losing money, investing money in projects and like things that were not well thought of. That's why those ended up being lost efforts. But nothing is really lost because you even from those experiences you learn. But I think my struggle in my professional career had been like learning the business side. And now that I have a solid grip on the business side, it's a lot easier. The way you communicate with your client, the way you confidently value your work and actually put the price that
Which is a struggle. Yeah.
It is a struggle. It's almost like a guilt trip. You don't want to take you don't want to ask for the money.
Yes.
Because it seems so effortless for us.
Right.
But then we forget that it took us years and like time, actually years and time and like money because we paid so much for our education, all the technology, all the knowledge that we gained like out of those softwares. Like it took us years to make it easy now. Yeah. That's why it's like, oh my God, it's so easy. How can I take like $1,000?
Exactly.
No, but like don't forget how much it took you to be here for it to be easy for you.
Exactly.
So that was a lesson for me to learn.
Yeah. I have a client that I literally just hit me up for some piece he wanted made. And again, I was like, I don't really know, like I'm new to professional work and I'm new to getting, hey, I need this made, give me your quote. And it was the funniest thing ever because I'm sitting here asking my girlfriend, like, oh, what do you think? What should I charge? And blah, 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 blah. And it was somewhere between like the 170 range that I was thinking. And I told him like, oh, I'll do it for $170. And he's like, oh, I was going to pay you 500. And I was like,
See?
fuck.
Yeah, that's why you always
Damn it.
start high.
Yeah.
You always start high. And I know this is sort of a fear that is like unconscious fear.
Yeah.
We feel like if we give a price that's like we think is high, we're going to like lose the client.
Yeah. It's a big fear. I have that. I have that currently, that I'm like, I don't want to.
I mean, sure, that could happen too.
Yeah.
That can happen too. But sometimes if it's a high price for them, they'll express and then you'll like renegotiate.
Yeah.
But like always start high.
Yeah.
Always start high for sure.
Yeah,
or like have an approximate price list.
Yeah.
I think what helps also in my business now, I have like general price list, but obviously every project is a custom project.
Absolutely.
So the client has somewhat of an idea of how much it's gonna cost, but it's like always plus and minus. And honestly, one thing I would want to teach at Woodbury, maybe like, I don't know, come up with a course, would be to actually teach the business side. Not the pro practice class, but the money class. Like, take that money.
That's huge. Seriously,
Yeah, I think that's something that we did not learn.
Yeah, not at all.
In college, and I think it would help.
Yeah.
It would help. We all have that struggle.
It
took me a decade. It took me a decade to finally like stand firm on the ground that I've been building.
Yeah, it seems like there is so many different freaking hurdles you got to jump over when it comes to that. And
it's kind of dangerous not to learn that money game.
I totally agree.
Because you start resenting your choice.
Yeah. Yeah.
I remember days where I was like, I think I just got in the wrong field.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, you just have to kind of remind yourself of the value that you provide.
Yeah. And then that too. And then I've also been kind of dancing around, like doing it because I love it. I think that's also been a weird middle ground for me, is like, I love creating. I can't stop creating. It's weird for me to not do it. But then when it becomes work and then it becomes that constant, it's like having to divvy. I mean, I'm sure you know, I freaking love superheroes. I love costumes. I love that stuff. And then when I got the job in it, I had talked to my cousin and my girlfriend about it, that it became the most persistent thought in my head that I don't want to do this. Maybe I'm not cut out for this. Maybe I'm frustrated by this, and maybe this isn't for me. And it wasn't until I stepped back from that professionally and made it my hobby again, and something that I did when I was stepping back and taking a break.
It's a real challenge.
Yeah.
And it's not everyone is built to handle it.
Yeah.
I struggle with that daily.
Yeah.
I love what I do with who I do it with. I love my teams. There are days I hate my job.
Yeah.
But again, that's going to be with whatever you choose to do.
Absolutely.
Whatever you choose to do, whether like you are a freelancer, you have your own business, you work for a corporate, which like I basically do all those at once.
Yeah.
You're going to have those challenges.
Yeah.
You're going to have those struggles. So you kind of have
Definitely
to
inevitable.
find a balance, remind yourself that it's never going to be like green fields all around you. You know, nothing is ever going to be that way.
Absolutely.
Anything great is not going to be easy to build.
Mm-hmm.
Anything great is going to require pain.
Yeah.
So that's just life.
Yeah.
Literally in whatever, even relationships, anything.
Right.
It's never going to be smooth.
Yeah. I get my closing thought that I would love to dance around for a little bit, and it's the most blanket statement on planet Earth, but it's literally your advice to creatives. And that could mean people, I know, it's, oh gosh, there's so many different directions, but your maybe the most persistent thing that you would tell someone, if you could only tell them one focus thing, or just maybe the strongest piece of advice that you could give someone. And it doesn't even necessarily be to get where I'm at, but just what you've gathered.
Okay. I would say take time alone consistently. Take time alone. Really try to mute the voices surrounding you, because it's getting louder and louder.
Yeah.
Social media, everything. And understand that everyone has an opinion, just like everyone has a butthole.
Yeah.
You don't have to take everyone's opinions close to your heart.
Yeah.
Obviously, like it's great for us creatives to take criticism.
Absolutely.
But criticism is criticism. You pick and choose what's useful for you from that criticism. And the more, going back to spending time alone, the more time you spend alone and the more you get to really dig into your own voice away from the crazy chaos, you know, noises around you. In that like solitude, you're going to know who you are. and there's always more to yourself.
Right.
You know, every year you're all of a sudden like becoming a whole new person.
Absolutely.
So keep on that journey of self-discovery. Really have that intimate relationship with yourself.
Yeah.
That's directly going to reflect who you are as an artist, because that from that place is going to be born your own unique creative signature.
Yeah.
And that's key.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. My biggest one that I've been persistently thinking about nonstop, and I keep telling people even too, is just connect.
Yeah.
Just connect with people, talk to them, compliment their shoes, and
Oh,
start the
absolutely.
conversation that way. And
Absolutely.
I've been so insanely blessed to talk to you and so many other awesome people that do such cool things for work. And everyone's always asking, like, how the hell did you get them to say yes to that? And it's like, I literally just DM'd them. I literally just sent them a DM.
Yeah, you just have to love people. You have to love people.
Yeah. And I was just like, hey, I just want to hear you talk. And most people are like, fuck yeah, let's talk. And why not? And I think that people are so scared to take that leap of...
That's very true. That was one of the things I was really pushing you guys on, even like this year's group. Like,
yeah, I remember when you spat us out into that room and you're like, go connect.
Talk to people.
Yeah,
people are not going to bite you.
It's huge.
Even if they bite you, it's fine.
Yeah.
You'll get over it.
Yeah, you'll. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to love people. You have to talk to people.
Yeah, I'm definitely learning how important that is and how many doors can open. And not even necessarily in like a profitable, like, oh, I'm gaining things. Like you just never know the kind of quality of people you're going to meet. And that's been a big one. Like I've been going to more premieres and things lately, and that's been my icebreakers. I'm like, you know what? If I like your hair, if I like your shoes, if I like your shirt, I'm going to tell you, and then I'm going to use that as like a way to connect.
And like I believe this being like a solid truth. The way you want to be treated, you treat others.
Yeah.
And it does magic.
Yes.
Really. Yeah. You have to approach people with the perspective of there's nothing wrong with, you know, this person or even me.
Yeah.
What's there to hold me back? Rejection, so what?
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, that goes for me. And it's so funny how, again, like I used to have connections in like the bodybuilding fitness industry. I used to know people, used to do content for them and like edit their stuff. And when I was kind of getting into it too, and I wanted to do collaborations with them, or I wanted to do stuff, it was always like, oh, maybe we'll see, maybe this or that. And now those same people that I hit up again, and instead of asking them, hey, you guys want to get a lift in together? Hey, you want to film a YouTube video? I'm literally like, hey, would you be interested in talking about superheroes or dressing up as one? And they're like, yes. And it's like finding again that common ground of just things that connect you to, and you can find like a genuine love and an interest in.
Absolutely.
And it fosters so much more creativity and so much more opportunity, which is just such a beautiful thing.
Yeah, then you never know who you can connect with.
Exactly.
And like two people you might connect together and then some magic happens.
Yeah.
So
like this.
Like
this. Are you kidding me? Like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Ani, it's been a freaking pleasure getting to talk with you and even getting to know you over the 2 years that I've gotten to. And you've taught me a bunch. I'm sure you've taught everyone that you've taught a bunch, and I'm sure you'll hopefully continue to do so.
I will.
Amazing. I was going to say, I'm planning on continuing to teach there.
And of course, I'm learning from you guys too. It's a two-way street. So
yeah. Well, I appreciate you so much, and
Thanks,
definitely go follow Ani on everything. I'll link her socials right down on the bottom below. And thank you guys for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this kind of style of thing, and it's been a blessing to talk to creatives and artists that are, you know, as talented and awesome as you. So thank you so much, Ani.
Thanks, guys.
We appreciate you. All right, guys. Have a good one.